U.S. Signing a key minerals deal with Ukraine, giving American investors priority access to the critical supplies, as well as oil and gas. Joining us right now, Richard Haass. He's the Council on Foreign Relations President Emeritus. He's also a senior counselor at Centerview Partners. So we saw this come out yesterday. We saw Scott Bessent put out this news and announcement. Just break down what you think this deal actually is and how it may or may not be different than what we were hearing about a month ago.
What the deal is it creates a framework for future investment, essentially in Ukraine mineral industries and associated infrastructure, 50-50 Ukraine and the outside. People would contribute to it. Reportedly, any proceeds would be reinvested back in Ukraine, at least for the first decade or so. A lot of the details of this are sketchy. What's really significant about it, Andrew, is one, it's not punitive. The aid that's gone to Ukraine over the last, say, 3 years is not considered as debt that needs to be paid off. That was Ukraine's biggest concern. And it removes a big annoyance. This administration wanted a deal. They've got a deal. And I think the good thing about it is it paves the way for the United States and Ukraine to cooperate about where do we go from here. So is this, though, a better deal than... Is this a better... I mean, look, we saw the president and the vice president say that effectively the American citizenry had been ripped off by Ukraine and that we were going back in and we were taking everything we could to effectively pay us back. That's where this, you talk about anchoring techniques and the art of the deal, right? That's where this started, at least under Trump.
I thought it was more about providing a way implicitly of saying we're going to provide for Ukraine's security because we're going to have our own people.
Well, and that was part of the argument about doing that.
I don't think
and
that's
the question is whether this deal is the deal. Well, look, 2 years ago, I remember we were in Davos, Switzerland, and you know, Larry Fink and Jamie Dimon, all of these guys have been talking about a reconstruction fund and effort and development deal for years that way preceded the last couple of months of this Trump administration and this negotiation. So the question is, you had this deal on the table that they were very upset about. They, by the way, brought Zelensky into the White House for the public to see this wild conversation.
Richard walked in and said it's not as punitive.
Not punitive at all.
It's not punitive to Ukraine. Does that mean that
it's forward-looking, not
does that mean that the White House had to give a lot of concessions that didn't want to in the first place?
Yeah, I think they backed away from the idea that this ought to be punitive or backwards-looking. It's forward-looking.
And do you actually think you don't have the details, but at this point you think it's a positive?
Absolutely.
And you're hoping it emboldens Trump to be more...
Exactly. It removes as a major source of contention. It's when was the last time...
And he can hold Putin's feet to the fire now?
If he wants to. When was the last time we were having a conversation about anything positive between the United States and Ukraine, between Trump and Zelensky? So that's good in and of itself. And it seems to be of a piece. What I don't know is whether now the president's going to go to the next step and basically say, look, it's not Ukraine, it's not Zelensky, it's Putin and Russia who are the impediments to a ceasefire.
He started to say that in recent days.
Started the other day, and let's put pressure on them. There's some talk in the Senate and elsewhere about secondary sanctions. You know, on this show, the secondary sanctions, that are their own complication because it gets you, for example, more friction with the Indias and others. What I'm hoping is that the administration sometime this summer is going to have to make a really big decision. The current military aid in the pipeline to Ukraine runs out. What are we going to do then? The president wants a ceasefire, wants a peace in Ukraine. The way to get it, and this deal potentially paves the way, is for the United States to keep the spigot open to Ukraine for military and intelligence support. Not unlimited. We're not talking about liberating territory militarily. We're talking about giving Ukraine enough capability so Putin realizes more war will pay off.
He won't do it without.
100%.
Right. But part of the reason why President Trump was claiming that he wanted to take so much of the minerals before was not just to pay us back, but the argument was that he needed that to be able to tell the American public that the U.S. was going to be there to defend Ukraine, right? Like that was part of his tactic, and then to suggest to Putin that therefore then he could battle out.
The deal gives us a stake in Ukraine's future. The United States, Europe, Ukraine, 50-50 joint development, the mineral and other.
But the view prior to this was that was not enough.
It is enough, and it's
no.
actually,
I'm saying it is enough.
yeah.
I'm saying, but the view that Trump had prior to this was that it wasn't enough.
Yeah, the punitive, the anger at Zelensky, the anger, they owe us for all the help we give, and that seems to have dissipated. And this is actually a good, reasonable, normal diplomatic arrangement for the future. This is old-fashioned diplomacy, Andrew.
Oh, I'm saying it's good. I think it's great. I'm just saying it's not what the president said he wanted.
All right.
So let's just be honest about what's happening.
Let's just celebrate. Let's just say this is a good day, and
Thank you,
for
Richard.
what it is and what it paves the way to.